Shalom. This is an emergency broadcast alert giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rukakadash, in whom we are in great depth. Double honors to the apostles of the great millstone who rule well. Continue doing so, standing firm in the eyes of terror, who I learned this truth from. To the elders, the bishops, Akim and Aquab, salutations and blessings to the house of David. We are the hopeful elect at GMS. This is your brother Quasiyar with another video, and this one kind of, it's things that you know that happen, but you like brush them off because you're under so much stress. You don't really care. And I wasn't in the truth. I didn't know. The Lord didn't, or should I say, the Lord wasn't knocking on my door, or He didn't knock on my door yet for me to have the understanding that I have today. And so, as I'm saying, this is another piece of Jacob's trouble, because guess what's gonna happen? They went to Iran. They had conflict. Iran had some hostages, and they released only so-called Negroes, and who knows what they did with the so-called whites. And I have several clips. I have select a few clips. But before I read I play the clip. I'm gonna read Jeremiah, and usually we begin at 7. But I'm gonna read from the top because it's important. This is Jeremiah 30, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord, thy power of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken into thee in a book. Now, the Torah, those scrolls, and we have the King James Version, the 1611 preferably, because those are the true words of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. What happened in the mix of it, in order for us to have these books, the Lord had to trick, Esau Edom into thinking that his manipulation will last forever, that this way the books could get to our hand, that we could proclaim the gospel today so we can run with it, right? Verse 3, For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. Now, the fact that we were scattered to the four corners of the earth, and that we were chased, and we were sold, in an Atlantic slave trade, back and forth. If that don't mean anything to you, you're gonna be burnt to a crisp, and you'll return in shame. We who know understand that, but that's just part of the movie. How some people are going to take their side, or should I say, how most people are going to take the wrong side. Because the people who will live in Israel today are not the Israelites. Because Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai did not bring those people there in 1948. Otherwise, there will be peace on earth. This is the problem with people who don't understand the words that were written in the book. Verse 4. And these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. 12 tribes. So-called Negroes, there are several tribes. So-called Latinos, there's several tribes. So-called Native Americans, there's several tribes. Lead to the 12 tribes of Israel, which is named like that because of the southern and northern kingdom and the split thereof. All right, so Judah is the head tribe because Yahawashi comes out of the head tribe. This is a rough rundown, if you may. Verse 5. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. And if you look around, I mean, I'm going to put it this way. Ever since I was born, all I've heard was trembling of fear. Everywhere I go, everywhere I hear, there's always either a rumor of war, fire. It is always chaotic, man. It's always chaos. All right? There's no peace for Jake, for Israel. All right? And now, with this third world war that is brewing, that is the ultimate fear for a lot of people, especially Jake, because the devil is going to come down with great wrath. And this is why I said that this is another piece of the puzzle, because guess what? Those people know that we got nothing to do with your mess, with your evil doings. And when I say your evil doings, I mean the devil the Bible speaks of is Esau Edom, so-called white man, who has created so much chaos among the other nations after our captivity. This is verse 6. Ask ye now, and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail, and all face are turned into palelessness. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. And while the devil is rounding you up and sending you out to war, or maybe even having execution squads because you refuse to go to war for his cause, that digital oil is going to be forced upon you. And when I mean forced upon you, I mean like you have no other choice, because he ain't going to go around pulling everybody out their house when it is easier for him to just cut you off, and have you beg. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that he's going to run somebody down and pull people out of their homes, but there'll be other reasons why. Esau Edom is shrewd. What is the word? Anyway.
What's up, family? Did you know during the 1979 hostage crisis, Iran released all 13 Black American hostages and kept everybody else?
Yeah, I meant to cut that out. Hold on. Give me a second.
Iran supports black people. Iran supports black people. Iran supported Malcolm X. They supported Malcolm X. Iran supported solidarity for black Americans. But they want us, black Americans, to go fight for the United States. They want us to go fight Iran. All for America. Iran supports black Americans. The United States don't support black Americans. The Jewish people don't support black Americans. But you want us to defend y'all? Hell no. We not stupid.
When that man threatened Iran last week, he said to the protesters, don't worry, help is on the way. And he said to the Iranian leaders, y'all need to back up. And then the Iranian leaders or a spokesperson or someone in government said, we're not going to miss next time. And the U.S. at the White House level sort of quieted down. And you know what? Listen, I just remember, I'm old enough to remember during the Iranian hostage crisis, as we called it here in this country, when the U.S. Embassy fell to the revolution there and American hostages were taken. And what most Americans remember is that the hostages were held for 300 something days, maybe 313 days or something. Americans started having a yellow ribbon to symbolize the hostages and all this kind of stuff. And the hostages were released. There was first there was an attempt to get them out, and that failed. And eventually they were released, and it was negotiated and worked out under Jimmy Carter. But Reagan had won the election and had worked out to hold those hostages there until he got in. So in pop culture, many people think Reagan got the hostages released with, but that's not what this video is about. You know what this video is about? When they had those hostages, the Iranians said, we're going to let the black people go. The Iranians let the black people go because they said, listen, we know y'all working here for this government, but we know you are not in control of that government over there in the United States. Y'all can go. And that's sort of some forgotten history about the Iranian, what we call the Iranian hostage crisis. A little battle going on between this government and the Iranians.
And we gonna be targeted by Iran. We gotta fight back. We, like they speak in French, but baby, trust me, we will not be targeted because if anything, they know their target is the bloodthirsty rich men. But just in case y'all don't believe me, let's talk about the unique and historical relationship between black Americans and Iran. Let's get into it. And if you've made it this far in the video, please just try to keep an open mind. I know unlearning everything we've been taught is very hard, but stick with me because this is not a conspiracy theory. It's a proven fact. And to understand it, we gotta go all the way back to 1979 when they overthrew the brutal US-backed dictator Shah Pahlavi. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because his...
Let me remind you who runs YouTube, okay? Again, they got plans. They have plans.
Son Reza Pahlavi is all over the news cheering on the US and Israel bombing Iranian schools. But anyway, in 1979, Iranian revolutionaries stormed the US embassy in Tehran and took more than 60 people hostage. The situation lasted 444 days, and when they released people, they released black people and women first.
Well, my kids came home and they said that they had already signed their paperwork to join the army. I tried to talk them out of it, but it was too late. They wanted a greater purpose. They didn't want to go to college and get a bunch of debt to be a teacher. Today is my rest day after my slow 10 miles yesterday. But the only thing I can do is get outside. Find some fresh air and pray for peace.
Listen to what Donald Trump just said about our American heroes who lost.
Before they continue, so she's praying for peace. What happened to our peace? You know, because I know for a fact, if you don't say something in the face of tyranny, you're part of it. If you don't say something when somebody's doing something wrong, you're part of it.
Their lives in Iran.
We grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is.
That's just the way it is, really? Let's see you send Baron Trump into war.
Give us your overall view on why you're against this.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Megan, and I completely agree with everything you said in your intro. I'd also like to point out that X is saturated in bots as well, and paid social media influencers who just echo
Big time.
whatever their money tells them to say, the money that they're getting paid for. And so I think that just like our media has been...
Y'all. When the country you've been told is America's biggest enemy for 46 years, when the axis of evil nation that's been demonized in every war movie and political speech since 1979, when Iran looks at America and says we don't have a problem with black people, our issue is with.
And the truth is, it didn't start with Iran. All right, this guy's he got it all wrong. But anyways, there is something else I wanted to add to this because, it's like I said before. This is a playbook for Esau Edom. They always say the same thing, but this time around, a lot of the things that he's worried about are happening.
Losing their minds over this.
Most Americans are completely against this war because, like you said, the president has made no case for it. We live our ordinary lives and we don't feel threatened by Iran. We don't walk around thinking that in any moment an Iranian ballistic missile is going to land on our head. We don't. Here's what Americans, and I want to read off this list. This is what Americans are focused on. 72% of Americans can't afford health insurance. 58% of Americans can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt. Massive.
And most of those people are so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. There might be 5% of so-called whites that have that problem. Hell, make it 10%. Now, keep in mind, a lot of things, most people, we truly do have a short memory span. We forget shit fast, man. That's why they keep doing the stuff that we're doing. They're doing. But thanks to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, we can actually give thanks and praise Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, acknowledge what has happened to us and what keeps happening to us, that it's going to come to an end. Because eventually, it will come to an end.
I want the right people to do their thing, so go ahead and blow this up.
Cause what you mean, have you seen this viral video?
So if you tried to put a CD or DVD in your laptop anymore, well, good luck. But
cause what you mean, have you seen this viral video? So Israel starts wars and arrogantly not expect retaliation, and when retaliation happens, they have no place for their citizens, so they leave their own citizens out to dry. Here's where this gets worse and kind of on par. The United States stepped in and is trying to find a way to send jets to Israel to pick up their citizens to bring to the U.S. for safety. Your tax dollars are funding Israel in two ways. They're giving money to support the war, and now they're using your tax dollars to fund planes to bring them to your country, through which they'll now have to be taken care of by your tax dollars. I'm not surprised. Ironically, the U.S. is about to get hit with a huge wave of undocumented immigrants.
My thought of it. Oh, and that guy recently made videos of how they have 13, 15 kids living in the home and they don't work. That's the offspring, if I'm saying it right, of those people that came over in the 70s.
Originally was, it's about time.
Brenda May says she's watched the bombs drop on Iran on TV and felt a sense of comfort and closure.
I'm not ashamed of it. I mean, we had to do what we had to do to protect the American people. And people like my son and many others that passed in the beginning of the Iraqi conflict, war, whatever you want to call it, it makes us parents, family members feel like they did not die for nothing.
Her son, Marine Staff Sergeant Donald May Jr., was the first Virginian to die in Iraq in March of 2003 when the tank he was riding in fell into the Euphrates River.
Really tired that thinking that maybe my son died for nothing, but with President Trump, I have full confidence in him, and to me it's not a war, it's payback.
We know that our military is second to none.
Democratic Senator Mark Warner, a member of the bipartisan Gang of Eight, was made aware of Operation Epic Fury and escalation. He disagrees with the attacks that Israeli and American troops have unleashed on Iran.
We need to make sure there is a clear purpose. Usually, when there's a strike, it's in reaction to something.
Look, all this is a show. They got a playbook going. They have rules they got to go by. And it all leads to that digital all. All right? Because they need to get in that country. They need to have that technology. They need to have power over that technology that Iran has, that I've been talking about. Anyways, I hope this was edifying. Shalom.